Hello, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend. I'm finally back. I'm sorry I disappeared on y'all last week. Should have wiped this off. I was at the shore for a whole week, and I didn't want to announce that we weren't going to be in our house, though I had my friend, who is also my sitter, stay here so she could take care of our bunny because bunnies don't go to kennels, and there's not a lot of people who can take care of bunnies, and they're really like sensitive to their own spaces, blah, 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 blah. So we're back. And she had to deal with all my ghosts, so I didn't want her to have to deal with any weirdos maybe showing up at the doorstep, right? Because it's safety first, right? You don't tell people you're leaving your house, all that stuff. So yeah, that's why I wasn't here. I'm looking for a pen to scribble with. Why is it on my floor? Probably because I knocked it off. So that's the excitement. I just have to see who. I didn't see my list, and I'm sorry I'm a few minutes late. I went for a walk. And I didn't leave to go on the walk for till a little bit late, but I wanted to get it in, and my daughter needed something. So I hope y'all understand. Sanity. So it was a very interesting week at the shore. We go to Ocean City, New Jersey, because it's not too far. It's super family friendly. It's a dry town. So there's not all the alcohol and stuff on the boardwalk, which when you have 3 little kids, it's just nice not to have like drunkenness all around them and, whatever. So oh, Devry. Okay. Devry, did you see the email I sent you? I sent you an email in response to why can I not open this the way I want to open it? Oh, here it is. Hold on, give me a minute because I want to read your note really quick. Oh, thank you, Devry. You're a doll. You're a doll. You're a doll. You're a doll. Okay. So I've got Devry, I've got Meg, I've got Allie and Laura, and I have 2 for, I always forget the name that you use, my dear friend. I'm going to just say your initials are LA because you'll know who you are. I can't remember your scream name, but you said you wouldn't be able to be here. And so, yes. Okay. And then I've got Leo Sign. I've got you on here too. So I've got Devry, Meg, Ali, Laura, LA, and Leo Sign. And yes. And okie doke. Oh, Whistle Tea and Hound. Sorry, Meg. So I don't know if you guys know that I have these precognitive dreams. Some people say that it's deja vu, but I have precognitive dreams. And a long time ago, I had a weird dream that I was at the shore and there were all these ghosts. And like I don't know, whatever. And so the first night we stayed in this place, I felt this man energy like standing behind me, kind of creepy energy. And we stayed in it was a dump. Like even one of the Wi-Fi places said beach dump. So it was a dump. And it was I like waited too long to look for a place, and my kids like to have a pool, and there was like literally no other place in our budget that that had a pool. So it was old, it wasn't really updated. I mean, quite literally like had a broken dishwasher from I think 1981. Whatever, we didn't need the dishwasher. That was like no consequence, but it was smaller than what we needed. Really, we really needed a little bit bigger space for the 5 of us. So we tucked in tight anyway. And like the first night we walk in there. So my middle daughter is very sensitive to people's energy, like where she's like, oh, I feel their yucky energy. Like, and it throws her into a tizzy, she's like goes into like a panic attack almost. So I'm working on teaching her all that stuff. So that was interesting. And then it's the first time we've traveled now that we have a diagnosis for my oldest daughter and that she's autistic. And so, approaching everything differently. So I spent a lot of time. I spent one day at the hotel with her just so she could have some quiet. And my husband took my other girls to the beach. And then I spent a lot of time just in the car having quiet space between her and my middle daughter. So just like, like not like in the hot car. We had the air conditioning going, like just probably bad. Don't talk to me about environmental stuff, like whatever, kid sanity. But it was a nice trip despite all of that. I don't think it's my husband's ideal trip. But when you have neurodivergent kids, sensitive kids, like whatever, it is what it is. But I had another deja vu or like a precognitive dream happen, which so a lot of my precognitive dreams are just random moments. And I think it's more about my guides showing me that I'm on the path, if that makes sense, if you guys get these. And it was literally like me stopping to tell somebody to like shift their face the other way to rinse her eye because she got sand in her eye. So she was rinsing this way and she should have been rinsing like from the corner of her eye out. Hello, Devery. So I don't know. So it's just like little things like that. But then my friend was staying here. She works second shift. And so she'd come home late, like she'd be turning on the alarm and stuff, but she's like, she ended up like her mom gave her a rosary to sleep with for the last 3 nights because she said the lights were flickering weird and that happens around her. And I was like, well, and then she's like, one of our lights does flicker weird sometimes, but the one she was not, I was like, well, maybe. I was like, it's your grandma. Like, I really do feel like it's something good. But then she's like, I turned that light off in the basement. I know I turned that light off in the basement. And she said she came back and it was turned on. And that happened a couple times. And then my husband pipes up. He goes, sometimes I think that I turn that off and it's turned on. So I mean, I know I see spirits a lot around me, so and none of them are harmful. And it's hard to explain that to other people that like, so I guess like haunted-y things happen around me. And I'm sorry if it freaks people out. But so I didn't want people to know that like I wasn't here and then have like something happen. And this poor girl's already dealing with all my ghosty things. So what can I say? Oh, I don't know. So she's very sensitive to heat. She's always been really sensitive to heat, my oldest daughter. And she's also like has a super grass allergy. Like this poor kid, when we first had Timothy hay in our house, we switched our bunny over to something else, but like she could just be in the room on the other side of the room and she'd just start like watering like poor little nose and everything else. So like there's a small window of time frame that she can be out in the yard where she's just not miserable with, and it doesn't matter how much allergy stuff we give her. She's just miserable around it. And she's also super sensitive to heat. Like when she was a baby, and I think I've told this story before, we had her in a rear facing car seat and she'd get mad when she was hot. She'd be like, tsk, tsk. And I bought one of those sleep sacks for her thinking like, oh, this is the safe thing to do. And she literally, I put it on her for 2 nights and she was like crying for huge chunks of time. And I couldn't like, the first night I was like, okay, maybe this is like her getting used to it. But she always liked to have her blanket on her and then just her leg hanging out. Like she always had one leg hanging out so she could have the cool on her foot. So, and even like when it's hot outside, like she's never tolerated heat very well. So that was like, there's like sensory issues. There's like all kinds of things, this poor kid, but she's doing a lot better than she was. So, and she's really learning to articulate her needs and her frustrations and like that she needs a break or whatever, instead of just blowing up. So this is like, she's doing great. It's just, you have to accommodate people, and sometimes neurodivergent needs do not match neurotypical needs or desires. And that's life. So, all right. Should we go? Devery, do you want to ask your question first? Please like and subscribe. Tell people about me, all that stuff. I haven't been posting a whole lot lately on TikTok either. I just sort of went into this like quiet mode, but I think I'm back. So I'm going to just post random stories and things that have happened. Whatever. Yeah. My mom got me this thing and it's called a Brewmate. It's really probably for beer. But I just have ice water in it right now and it keeps it the coldest ever. It's part of my practical birthday present. Hello, Joelle. I'll add you to the list. Okay. Deborah, do you want to ask your question? I see you, Meg. Meg, did you do for 2 questions? No. Okay. No, it was someone else. Okay. I totally understand it's frustrating, and I always feel like so I'm going to try and do this generally so that I'm not going to say the specifics of the question since I know you wanted a private, but I want to say this for everybody because I think it's really important when we talk about timing. So there's sometimes when people ask me a question when they're like wanting something to happen, right? Finding a job, whatever it is, the new house, and I'll get like 6 months or a year or whatever. And that time comes and passes, and I feel like, oh my God, I got it wrong, but I know this is coming for them. Like I know it, like I know it. And it's happened before where it's like, I don't know why. I know it's going to happen. I can't get the timing on it. And I don't know why that is. And I never understand that. So, and I'll always be honest with you guys about that. Like if they're not giving me a portion of it, and I always feel bad that I can't give you the answer that you really want or give you like an answer to that specific question where it's like, it's sort of like this roundabout thing, but I'm not going to make shit up. And I'm also not going to leave you at like, too bad, sucks for you. It's just like, it's just sometimes it doesn't happen. And I don't like anybody who's like, oh, this is why, like, these are the answers to the universe. And I have them all because I'm a psychic medium. I always am super leery of those people because I'm like, you don't really know what it's like on the other side. Like you're given like a tiny little snippet of an idea. So when like people ask me what it's like on the other side, I'm like, I don't know. Because half the time when I'm connecting with them, I feel like I'm in an interrogation room. Like I don't feel like I'm in that space. Okay, just one question. So what is your question, my dear? Deborah. There you are. And I'm going to get to you, Meg, then. So I feel like, hang on. Whistle. I'm just going to put whistle tea. So the way I feel like, he has darker skin. And I feel like he's going to have a deeper voice. He's a little bit taller, but he's not like crazy tall or anything. So he's like right around 6 feet. And he keeps his hair shorter. And they're showing me with a little bit of a belly. But he feels like, but not like, he's not huge. He just has a little bit of a belly. And I feel like his energy is slower. Like, this is weird. When I started to say that, they're like, it made me feel like a good braised meat. Like that kind of slow, like, I don't know why they're using this as the analogy, but like when you make a good braised meat, it's like this slow, deep, rich cooking, right? It's got all that flavor to it and personality. But like there's just a comfortable energy about him. Like he's not rushing anybody or in a hurry. He feels like somebody who observes a lot more than just, he doesn't fly off the handle. He sees a lot more. He might get a little distracted at times, but not like by like other women, just distracted in his thoughts. Because randomly I just got distracted. And that's usually their way of showing me things, like where I pay attention to what I'm doing. And he may also be like, he never wants this feeling of like, he's very conscious of his energy, doesn't want to hurt people. Like, so he's very aware of how his energy affects other people. And they aren't talking about like what he does for a living or anything like that. Like, I feel like financially he's steady and he's okay, but he's not a flashy guy. And they were saying he's very nurturing and been through a lot. You know, sometimes some people or some things don't show up not because it's not the right time for you, but because it's not the right time for them. Right? So like, and I can use this in any context. If it's like for a relationship or a baby, like you're wanting a baby, it's like maybe it's not really about your timing, but it's about their timing. Like, so a baby needs to come in at a specific time to have the specific experiences they need to have. Maybe the person that's coming in for you is doing some growth period, some learning how to be more introspective and learning how to be more emotionally available and in touch with their own stuff and functions. So it's not really necessarily about like, you may be very well be ready, but they may not be ready for you. Same thing with a job. Maybe the job needs to be, either someone needs to vacate that position or the job needs to be created. So sometimes we get in such a rush that we forget that it's not really always about our timing, but it's about the timing of like sort of everything. And I'm not saying you're being impatient. I'm just like sort of, I don't know, that felt like it needed to come out. Okay. I'm gonna leave you with that. What's the tea and hounds? Um, can I just ask you this, Meg? Is AB an older woman? So I'm just going to tell y'all weird stories while I'm waiting for people to answer. I wear this hat, and it's a sun visor because my whole head gets hot, and I have a big noggin, and so like when I wear, like if I find a sun hat that's like a one size sun hat, then it just feels tight on my head. And I can wear it, but I don't necessarily like it. So I have like this sun visor that's like, like it's adjustable. It's got a little Velcro on the back. She's older than you, yes, okay, but it's got one of those really big brims. And I got it because I saw these women wearing it when I was at Legoland. But it like looks like it's huge. It's an extra big brim. So I look like a little old lady wearing it. but it also, like, my skin is really super fair and I burn easy, and it doesn't, I mean, I could probably put sunblock on every half hour and still manage to find some sun on my face, like color. So I just, whatever. It's big. I like it. And also I don't, my head doesn't get hot in it and it fits my noggin. And it actually, like, a lot of sun visors, like, I'm like, well, what's the point? And like a lot of the sun hats that have the big brims, and then your head gets all hot and stuff. So I don't want a hot head, but I look silly in it. And when we went to the beach, I'm like the only one wearing something that huge. And people looked at me, and I just decided in my head that they were looking at me because it's fabulous and they should have thought of something so wonderful. But my point to all of this, I'll show you next time we're on because I meant to grab it and then I was rushing down here. Okay. So my point being is that on your spiritual journey or whatever you're doing, you may not fit in with the crowd and you may be doing things that like nobody else would do. And like maybe all the spiritual people are using their crystals or doing their Lion's Gate and all that stuff. Like just do your own thing. Just cherry pick out whatever's working for you. If it's working for you, it doesn't matter if everybody else is doing it. Just do it. That's it. That's my little pedestal. So Meg, older lady, I just feel like I don't feel strongly about this one. I got to be honest. I feel like you're going to be carrying, like, you're going to be carrying a lot of the load, and still doing the brunt of the work. She's really nice, but I'm not sure that she's going to carry her weight. Like it feels like it ends up being more work for you. But she's really nice. And she is a task rabbit. So like if you need shit done and you just want to have somebody who you work with that you just tell what to do and they're more like an assistant, that's a good thing. But if you need somebody to take initiative and just do on their own and know that it's going to get done and trust that it's going to get done, I'm not sure that this is the person to partner with. And trust your intuition on that. I feel like you already know that this is the answer if you're asking me it. I got to be honest, because you have a pretty good intuition. I feel like you're asking me that to validate what you already know is the truth rather than. So I'm leaving you with that. So I had somebody reach out to me on TikTok last week and they're like, oh my God, are you safe? Like, are you okay? And then somebody else just said, are you safe? I am very reliant. So I guess when I don't show up, you're wondering what's going on. So I've just been like drained, and honestly, like I've been stuck in my head a little bit about wanting to create content where I have ideas. In fact, I have a whole list of ideas of things to make. And then I'm like, I can't get out of my brain. I can't get out of my brain. And I don't know if that's neurodivergence. I don't know what the fuck it is, but I'm back at it this week and I'm just throwing caution to the wind. This is my corner. Also, this happens to be in the money corner of my house, like the room that's in the money corner of my house. So whatever. Okay. Allie, what's your question? And then Laura, your question. And I'm going to just run onto Venmo and see. Some people pay me through Venmo. So, but I'm safe and I love that y'all are so sweet to reach out and check on me. She sent me money for this, but didn't. Oh, here they are. Sorry, chewing a cough drop. Allie, are you here? And Laura. Is anyone, if anybody else is, if they're not jumping in, if you want to just put your question in, because I'm feeling impatient. My own fault. I shouldn't be. What else can we talk about? Y'all know that I'm not like big on the whole. Did you ever know? So everybody was like, oh my God, the whole CERN thing, like the whole world is changing because of CERN. And then like all of a sudden it's quiet and they're on to the next thing, which is Lionsgate. You know, even if CERN is doing stuff, why are you spending time? Like, who cares? I mean, you don't have control over that shit anyway, right? Okay. You know what? I'm going to answer. Hang on. Sorry, I'm going to just answer this woman's offline. I'm just telling her that. Let's see if she's okay with that. Just because she's not going to be able to be out live anyway, and then it doesn't take away from y'all's time. Sound good? Fantastic. So I had this really awesome thing happen. Oh, here we go. Laura, hi, Annalise. I was wondering, should I go to the expensive master's degree or more affordable one? This last one, I would have to quit my job and find a part-time one. Wait, for the affordable one, you have to quit your job, or for the more expensive one? I'm assuming you mean you'd have to quit your job. I'm confused. So oh, thank you, Leo sign. That's so sweet. Thank you for letting me know. The comparison I'm getting is for the affordable one, I'd have to quit my current job. The comparison I'm getting is this: you will get a good education either way. So when I went to nursing school, I got my associate's degree. I did not get my bachelor's degree because I had already been in undergrad at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire for a few years working on healthcare administration. And I was like super tired of being broke college kid because I paid my way through school. My dad helped out minimally, but he helped out, but did not like he gave me a monthly stipend, but he didn't pay for college. And I didn't have loans, and he wouldn't co-sign on loans. There's like all these things with it. So I worked through school. I worked a lot. Like I had a friend one time who was like, you work more than anybody I knew, which I didn't realize. I was just like, I had to work. I walked out of school without any loans. My schools had been paid for, all of that, blah, blah, blah. But there was some really, really tight times. And I was tired of living like that. Like when I got my first full-time job, it was a break for me. And I was so relieved. So I ended up getting my associate's degree, and I had to fight in my family the idea that that was like terrible, like not good enough. It wasn't a real degree. My mom thought I was an LPN for a long time instead of an RN. Like nobody really said it, but it was said, like not directly, but there was just all these kind of little, bleh. But And I always thought like, oh, well, this is a lesser education. It's not as good because it's only this. But then when I started working as a nurse and I started training and having college students work with me and helping them and teaching them, I actually found that I got a really good education, better than some of the prestigious universities. So it if there is a feeling of, I guess they're having me say this because am I going to be getting a lesser education just because it's more affordable? The answer is absolutely not. You're going to be getting a great education either way. So I don't want to say you should do this or you should do that because I won't do that. But if that's the feeling of like, is this as good? Yeah, it is. It's going to be a great education. Stop worrying if you're not going to find another job because honest to God, have you ever seen all of their, like, there's so many signs out there constantly for we're hiring. Are they your dream jobs? No, but you're going to school to get your dream job. You'll find another job. That is not going to be an issue. It may not be your dream job. But look, I didn't work my dream jobs. I didn't even work my dream jobs as a nurse in some cases. Like I just, especially when I was working in Manhattan, I didn't love all of the positions I had and the places I worked, but I wanted to stay in Manhattan. So I worked at some of the jobs where other travelers were like, how the fuck do you stay here so long? And I guess my mentality was always like, well, what do I want? Like, you'll find a job. It just feels like it may not be like exactly what you want, but the time will be flexible enough that you can do the schoolwork and that. And I worked at Shopko in college, which is kind of like Kmart, but like different, like same size wise. I worked at an Alzheimer's care facility. The best paying one was when I worked as a student nurse intern, but I worked nights. Yeah, so you'll have something that'll help you pay for expenses. That's what you'll have. So you shouldn't worry about that. I sometimes I'm like, I think about money and I'm like, oh, when you worry about like not having it, it's like, well, if you're very like it has to be this way, then you've already limited yourself. But if you realize like there's opportunity everywhere. My husband just got back from the pool with two of my kids. So you'll be fine. Leo sign, if you want to go ahead and go. Hi, AB, welcome. I've got Leo sign, Joelle, and Kathy. I mean, I have to be honest with you. There are times in life where I'm like, why would you spend a whole bunch more for, I don't know. I mean, again, it's like when people are like, I have to have the fanciest car, I have to have XYZ. I mean, it's not where my thing is at. So, I mean, you're allowed and entitled to have whatever desires and dreams you want. I just don't understand it. That's just me. And because at the end of the day, when people are working at a certain point of having worked, nobody really cares that you graduated from Harvard. No offense. Like, I don't really care if my doctor graduated from Harvard or from a state school, as long as they just know what they're doing. That's all I care about. I don't care if my attorney graduated. I don't have an attorney. Let's be honest. Sorry, my hair is like super wet. But I don't care if they graduated from Harvard or a state school, as long as they know what they're doing. They pass the bar. That's like what I care about. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. But your expenses go up when you have the expensive school. If you can afford it, then do it. If you would feel safer and more secure and you can afford to do the more expensive school, then do that. This is not psychic. This is just, where is your mindset going to be at? But you're going to get a good education at both of them. You'll get a good education at the less expensive one. It's just, it becomes like, and I can't make that decision for you. Right? So I had a conversation with somebody, this was years ago. And they were like, oh, I'm going to get this job and it's 45 minutes away or maybe even longer. So they were living in Milwaukee at the time, or a suburb of Milwaukee, and they were going to get a job in Madison. They were working in Milwaukee. They didn't love the job there, but the job that they were going to go back to was going to pay him 10 grand more a year. Like, oh my God, it's so much. And I was like, sometimes that 10 grand's not really worth it. And meaning time is precious. And so if you're spending 2 to 3 times the amount of time commuting, 10K is not really worth it. Not to me. Like, I'd rather the time. That's just me. So I can't make that decision for you. This person ended up totally, like, they were like pissed at me for saying that to them, but I tend to be a little bit more honest and blunt about things instead of being like, oh my God, that's so amazing. Like, probably because I'm neurodivergent. So I don't like, I don't know. My filter's a little bit more honest because I don't know, whatever. Anyway, they ended up quitting that job and hating it because of the distance. 10K is not worth it. So my point is like, so if you're paying a lot more, even if you're making more, you're still working full time. Are you going to have the time, the energy? Because it's not just the financial thing. There's like, you're working full time and going to school full time. Like, are you really going to have to give to that? There's a whole bunch of factors there. So not psychic me telling you this. This is just common sense, practical me talking to you. Like, it's not. If you go just by the numbers, it might not be telling you the full story. And I'm saying that because I worked full time and went to school full time, and it's hard and it's exhausting. And I don't know. I went to school with some women who also had kids, and I'm like, how the fuck are you doing this? Like, because I felt like I was struggling, but I also had some what do you call it? I don't know, whatever. Nursing worked really well for me because it's a very task-oriented job. Like, I knew what was expected of me. I knew, like, there was no ambiguity. It was very, very clear and very little, and it was very easy for me to do that. Like, there was rules, there's protocols. I don't think I would do so well in a creative setting, having to work with like a lot of people, like being like, oh, just whatever comes to mind. And then I'd be like, do it. And then I feel like they'd be like, not that so much. Like, because if someone has an idea in their head and I'm not meeting it, like I can't, it's frustrating. I worked for the front desk in the dorms, and one of the directors was like, can you do a wall with like this thing on it or whatever? And I spent so long on it. I took it home to work on it at home because I work better like that. I got in trouble for doing that. Why aren't you just working in the office? And I was like, because I can't. And like they did not understand that and like thought I was lying, whatever. And so I worked on it. And I like really thought I did a great job. And then he was like, not really like that. That's not what I had in mind. And I thought that'd be fucking specific for me. Anyway, so my point is there might be some other mitigating circumstances that you need to really look at to help make that decision, because I can't make that for you, but I can tell you that I do feel like you'll get a really good education either way. So you're not shortchanging you just because it's less expensive. I actually feel like you're going to go the less expensive route, to be honest. That's just me. All right. Leo sign, do you want to post your question? Joelle and Kath, you guys, either one, any of you can. Anyway, so I am learning to embrace myself. Just a general reading. Okay, Leo sign, are you still here? And Allie, if you're back, go ahead, post your question. Have you been doing like a lot of running back and forth, or like feeling like you're reaching? And I'm asking that so I figure out how to say this better. So Joelle, have you been doing a lot of running back and forth or retracing your steps a lot? Like an example would be like, say I'm packing for a trip and like I have to keep running up and down the stairs because I go upstairs because I remember something and then I come back down and then I realize I forgot something else. And I'm like constantly like, it's like, feels like a lot of back and forth. They said like they basically said you've been retracing your steps a lot. It's okay. No apologies. I don't know that I made it very clear. Well, you don't have to force this to fit. I'm just trying to figure out why I feel like they're like, it's like running back and forth, retracing steps. Or have you been like thinking a lot about past actions and like trying to relive it as the best, or like retracing your steps essentially in your head? Oh, you're up and down. Okay. I feel like this is a grandmother energy or older female energy. And she's like, in life, she would have been very organized, because I feel like she's just like, she's sort of scolding you, like, if you were a bit more organized, you'd be doing that. It's not a guide because your guides don't really care. And this is a woman who would have passed with respiratory issues, because I feel very short of breath. Is she in a coma? Or is she in and out of consciousness? Sorry if you can hear this and it's annoying. I have so many sensory issues that I actually am like very cognizant of the fact that other people may also have sensory issues. So like I was sitting next to a friend in this one circle thing and I started chewing some nuts and I was like, oh my God, wait, does this like bother you? Because I have that one. What's it called? Something phonia, whatever, where you're really sensitive to people chewing. And it's not like I like, but it's like sometimes if I'm tired, it's worse. Anyway, my aunt is saying that she has high fever and low blood pressure. Is she conscious? Because I'm leaning towards the fact that she might actually be in a coma, because you can communicate with people in comas and they can astral travel and do that kind of stuff. So that might be why I'm picking up her energy. And I say this because I communicated with my cousin's ex-husband this way when he was like in a coma. She has Alzheimer's. Well, they're kind of in and out. I got to be honest with you. Does she also have issues with her teeth? And they're talking about 2 weeks. So has she been sick for 2 weeks? This is weird because they're showing me the reference to, have you ever seen The Exorcist? I'm not saying she's possessed, but that, you know what, like the priest starts seeing his mom and she's going, Demi, why'd you leave me, Demi? Or something like that. I don't know. It's like, Demi. So does she have a kid that's a priest? Or is she religious? Or is there some kind of connection? I don't know what the connection would be here, but that's like what they keep showing me over and over. It's kind of a weird reference. Or the name, is it their nickname Demi? Or she's been sick for 2 weeks. Okay. She doesn't have any teeth. She may have a sore spot on her upper right gum. Like if she had dentures that were rubbing incorrectly or ill-fitted, I feel like there might be a little breakdown on her upper right gum. So mention that to your aunt that's with her to have them look in her mouth and check that out. She has one son, that's your dad. Okay. Did your dad ever visit her or not? Like, so like maybe there's a feeling of being betrayed or being left or abandoned. Even if I know your dad's a good man, so I'm not like, but we all perceive things differently, right? And if somebody who has Alzheimer's, sometimes they become very childlike, right? Okay. So it might behoove him to make a visitation or at least call and ask the phone to be held so she can see him or do like a video FaceTime or something, but to do so she doesn't feel so abandoned. Make sure they check the upper gum because I can just feel it. And I feel like, so if it's the dentures, they're ill-fitted and she might have lost weight. And so it's like that feeling of like, they're not glued in right, or they'll cause a rubbing. You know, like if you eat pizza that's too hot and it burns the roof of your mouth, that's what it feels like. It's like a raw spot on her, on the right upper, where her teeth are supposed to be, her jaw. I don't think she likes the gown she has on. It's not soft enough. So if there's a way that they can put her in something softer, it feels like that would be better for her because her skin feels very sensitive, and the gown or whatever they have her in. And I know that it's a hospital gown, but it feels like you could order something that's softer for her. I feel like she doesn't like the gown. I know this was supposed to be a general for you, and I'm sorry she's sort of like latched in and taken over. But it feels like her needs aren't being met, and she's using the opportunity. She'd also like her hair brushed. So I don't know if when she was with it, if she really that was really important to her to always look nice and look her best, but it feels like she would like her hair brushed. Um, so I asked about where her fever's coming from, and I actually feel like it's a UTI. I feel like that's the source. So if they've been like, we don't know what the source is, blah, blah, blah. I feel like that's the source. I don't feel like it's COVID or anything like that, or polio, or any of the other weird things going around like now. So if you live around the New York area, get your IPV vaccine for polio. Make sure your kids are vaccinated. Mine are. They got all of their vaccines because I like vaccines. I will be getting my IPV as soon as I can figure out where they have the adult version. I also am due for my Tdap. I don't ever want pertussis again. Ever, never, ever. It's terrible. You've never coughed up so many secretions in your life unless it's terrible. Okay. So your grandma thinks that you should be more organized. Just so you know. How can we connect with these people while they're still alive? Just like you can connect with animals. Um, and people with Alzheimer's do float in and out of their body quite regularly. They're not as attached as you and I are. And because I don't think our consciousness is limited to this avatar, I got to be honest. That's why you have your higher self and all of that. Like, if you're ever having a really hard time with somebody, this is a trick I learned a long time ago, and I love it, and it's fantastic. I have a conversation with their higher self. I don't even necessarily bother going to them. I just have a conversation with their higher self and see if we can resolve it energetically. I know that's how it works, but whatever. Okay, Leo sign, do you have a question? The last little thing I just feel like is like, I just feel like you should know that you're doing okay. Not to question yourself so much, to know that you are on the right path. Just super general, but hopefully with all the other stuff I gave you that it'll make sense. So Leo sign and Kath, you guys are up. Oh, and Allie, I got to do yours. So Allie, this is a non-psychic question about what you're talking about. Did they biopsy it by chance? Why didn't they biopsy it? Find yourself a new GP, because that seems like that would be one of the first things they would do. So I feel like it's what I asked us to see if I could validate any of this stuff. I don't feel like it's cancerous. It's weird because I feel like there's a little bit of fluid in there, but I also feel like there's like, it's not a fatty lipoma, but maybe like, so it's like a combination of stuff in there, but I feel like it's benign. So I don't know, maybe it's like a cyst that needs to be pulled out, or But I still am like, I think that's weird that neither one of those doctors, let me see, did you say your dentist or your primary did not biopsy? Why didn't they biopsy? Did they ask? Did they tell you why? Welcome, Veronica. I feel like, so it feels like there's a slight amount of liquid in there and it's like tissue, whatever, but it feels like it's benign. So just try not to go in and panic that it's cancer because I don't feel that at all. But it feels like it needs to be removed. There's some sort of cyst, and I can't think of what it's called offhand, but they have to remove the sac part of it in order to make it not come back. I'm just writing up the list. Copy it. You just had your thyroid removed? I don't feel like it's cancer. I just feel like it's like a cysty thing or something. I don't feel like I feel like it's benign, whatever it is. Like I hear, because this sounds weird, but they're like normal. I think squamous epithelial is like normal cell tissue. I can imagine that would worry you given your past. So it's easy for me to say, don't worry. And I always felt that way as a nurse. I'd be like, yeah, but it's like, it's stuff you see every day. Like if somebody came in with their baby on a Billy Light, like Billy Lights for elevated bilirubin, nothing, it's like pretty standard, normal, like whatever. But for a first time parent, like it's scary because they were like, oh, they could get brain damage, like all the worst things. And they could, but I have to tell you that it's so treatable that it's really not very common. But it feels like let me just think what I was going to write. I'm just seeing if this even makes sense. And I'm hearing that. Sorry, I'm just looking at what this is. I feel like it's going to be okay. So I don't want to, your ENT should be able to figure it out. But I got to be honest with you, the ENT I don't ask if they're going to biopsy it. I think this is really important. And if they don't biopsy, ask, what's your differential diagnosis? Why would you not biopsy it? I want you to ask him that differential diagnosis. How does he know that he doesn't need to do that? How has he ruled that out, basically? Ask him that, or her, whoever this being is. Force them to give you a response instead of to blow you off. They may send you to an endocrinologist because of your history with a thyroid. I'm annoyed with your PCP that your PCP did not do that and or did not tell you that they just went, oh, I don't know. I'm just helping you navigate who to poke at and how to poke them. So as a nurse, we weren't allowed to tell people, let me read your chart and tell you what the fuck's going on. Or you're not getting the full fucking story here. So I would always say, these are the questions that will help you get the answers you're looking for. Because I knew they were getting the runaround a little bit. So those are the questions. Like if I was like, you're my family member and I was like, these are the questions I would ask. What's your differential diagnosis? How did you know not to biopsy it? What made you choose not to biopsy it? But I have a feeling they might send you to an endocrinologist just by virtue of the fact of having the thyroid cancer. The ENT may opt to say this might be a better, like I can do the biopsy here, but it might behoove you to go there. I feel like the ENT is going to be a better doctor. Better bedside manner, better explanation, not trying to, shoo you away. I don't think your dentist knew what the fuck it was. I got to be honest with you. I don't think your dentist was like, not a tooth. That's all I know. But I am concerned that your GP didn't at least say like, you should get this biopsied. Or this is probably what they're going to do, but I don't feel comfortable doing it. Something like that. Like I don't know, is a concern. Because they should have an idea. So, okay, great. So your ENT did your surgery. So go to your ENT because they did the surgery, ask them. And if he's not biopsying it, ask, why not? What's your differential diagnosis? Or doing an ultrasound. He can wand that thing in the office and see if it's solid or if it's got like a liquid center or anything like that. You can do a quick needle biopsy in the office. This is not psychic. This is just, but the feeling I feel like the path will go is that they, again, it does feel benign. It doesn't feel like, okay. Hello. It's probably pinching a nerve. That's all. It's probably pressing on a nerve. Okay. Leo sign, are you here still? Kath? As you told me last year, I passed the certification course in teaching adults. You also said you felt number 3. Interestingly enough, I had to try 3 times until I finally passed. Well, you passed. That's all that matters. People get all like worked up, like, oh, but I had to try. So what? You passed. C's get degrees. Like, we need to stop worrying about if we're the best in class or just did we do it? Oh, I'm sorry, Leo sign. Thank you. Someone told me that between the end of August to October, something positive will happen in terms of career. Can you see that? You're very welcome, Laura. Thank you for the validation. I like that. Leo sign. I'm leaning towards this being like maybe the 3rd week of September. And it feels like it's not a huge promotion, but I feel like it's a bump up. Like either bump up pay grade slash like title change, but it doesn't feel like huge, but it's something. Is she safe? Hey, Kath McNamara, if you're here, can you just tell me? I do feel like it's something like that. Yeah, because it's funny. I was like, why do I feel a book thing? I can't remember what you do. I know you've asked about books before, but yeah, but it feels like a small bump up, not huge. Like it doesn't feel like what you're dreaming of, but it feels like it's something, so I'll take it. It could always be that. Yeah. I don't feel like again, I don't feel like I would put it more at a stepping stone than the beginning of something huge, right? So I put it more at a stepping stone. Like this is the path to that, but it's not that. Um and Laura, congratulations on your certification, by the way. Yeah, PayPal, Liana, is how you do it. So it's PayPal. That should work. It should go to like a where there's a the little purple butterfly thing. I don't see a huge career change, but you can manifest whatever you want. Maybe that's the stepping stone to the huge career change where you're like, this is something little, but this isn't what I want. So, but I don't see that one being the huge career change. Remember that sometimes those things, again, when they come around, sometimes things seem to like fall apart before they come together. Kath, are you here? Veronica or Devry, if you want to ask your questions. Sure, you can do a general reading. General can be totally general. So if you're really hoping that, like, oh, I wanted to talk about love, or like, but I don't want to ask about that, like, just ask about it. Because then I'll look at just a general love reading or general. But otherwise, grandma can come through and you might not want that. Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm connecting in with your energy when I say this. I did feel a lot of anxiety just now and I feel like you carry your anxiety here, but I asked them and they're making me feel like there's a like anxiety's kind of a lot lately. Like it's here and then also I also feel like you're kind of I don't want to say a hypochondriac. It's not that, but I do feel like you're a medical worrier. Like it's like I feel this feeling the feeling I get if somebody's diabetic or is dehydrated, like my kidneys are dry, or not right. And it's like, but she's just like it's like she'll feel a twinge or something and be like, Google, and then be like, oh my God, what if it's this? Like you spend too much time worrying about things that aren't there. Okay. Like I get a little cough and oh my God, do I have COVID? Like it's like there's like a very, but it's like around medical stuff and okay. Just want to make sure. So I do feel like this comes from like a maternal line of being like having ailments, but also being warriors about ailments. And it's like they said, you're not like that. You don't have to give so much energy to that. You won't end up that way. So I don't know if like mom and her mom all kind of had some medical stuff going on where it's like, but you're not going to end up that way. That's not your story. Don't create that. I don't think this is yours, but did mom or grandma have a left hip pain or issue with their left hip? And also I feel like a respiratory and like respiratory issue and maybe some headaches. Your dad had left hip pain and respiratory. Okay. Okay. Just because I had been talking about them. So is he passed or is he here? Is your family full of a lot of fast talkers? Because I just feel like it's just rolling around in my head. It's not here yet, but I will check it. Okay. Yes. Okay. Um, is dad passed? Is he still alive or did he pass? Crossover, die, whatever, kick the bucket. Not to be insensitive, but sometimes people are like, wait, well, like still living? He's still alive. Why would I pick that up then? Do you worry that you're going to have the same issues he has? Like there, it just feels like there's so many worries. I just keep getting this feeling of it's like so many things that I worry about. Like, oh my God, my right foot hurts now. Like, what's that? Like, am I going to have arthritis or is there like an autoimmune issue? He doesn't see a doctor, so I'm worried about him. Oh, okay. Um, I'm not laughing at you in any way, but it's like you worry about all of the things that you can't control. So I'm using this example and not to dismiss you, but if God, like the whole free will thing, if God's like, go ahead, sit in your shit, like you do what you want. This is your gig, you run this thing. I think it's very interesting that we as humans spend so much time worrying about what other people are doing with their lives when God's like, go for it, sit in your shit. Like it's not our job to make sure that they're taking care of themselves. Have the conversation with him. Hey, I worry about you, and that's kind of unfair. So I'm just letting you know I don't want to worry about you anymore. So I'm not going to. Sort of becomes a choice. It's very freeing and liberating to finally just say, like, you do your own shit. I am done enmeshing myself and worrying about you, because you're going to end up making yourself sick by being such a worrier. You're going to create things in your life that you just don't need and taking on energies that you don't need to do. The other thing they want you to talk about is like your self concept and your own mantras. And so instead of going to that worry state, it's like, no, I'm fine. I'm good. I take good care of myself. I am healthy. I'm smart. All of those things that and shifting your belief systems. That's the stuff you have control over, your thoughts. And it's not like I feel like I feel like so some of the anxiety comes from you being clairsentient. A lot of people like to call that empath, but it's limited and I don't like that. So clairsentient, clear feeling, you feel other people's stuff. But you have to sort of realize that, like, if I walk into a situation and all of a sudden I feel depressed, angry, anxious, super duper happy, tired, headachy, whatever, if I didn't feel that way before I stepped in the door, it's probably not mine. So I need to like exit that energy and just say, like, oh, this isn't mine. I don't need to take on to that. That's probably theirs or whatever. You don't have to hold on to other people's energy. You can just observe it. Just like you go, oh, look, they have brown hair. Doesn't mean I have to go dye my hair brown too. You just have brown hair. That's pretty cool. Also, move energy through your body. So if you start to feel yucky when you're around somebody, shake it out. Maybe it's a little stimmy, but it really does move energy through your body. Jump up and down. Take a walk. So this is like, don't shoot the messenger, but I'm going to say it to you very straight. They're talking about you being codependent. And so codependence is like not a dirty word. Let's get over that. But it does mean that you put other people's needs, desires, wants, whatever ahead of yours. And it's like, oh, well, like I'll do that because I don't want them to suffer at all. And like there's two things about that. So number one, you put your own needs on the back burner. And I don't feel like you're that old. I feel like you're really young, but you do it with friends, you do it with family, and you do it in relationships to an extent. And then it feels like in romantic relationships. But there's also the thing of like, it's okay for other people to struggle or have to figure things out. We learn through our struggles. We learn through our mistakes. We learn through tribulations. So trials and tribulations. So if we don't give somebody that opportunity to do that, we're taking away their opportunity to learn. You can ask a question, Autumn. So it does feel like, you don't have anything left to give if you're always filling up everybody else's and you haven't replenished your own. So I did this thing. This was a big thing for me. And I know maybe some of you don't realize it, but I think it's a big thing. So I'm always, whenever somebody wants to give me a gift, I usually say, no, that's okay. I'll get like, or if they're, like, oh, I want to get you this book. Do you mind if I give it to you? And I'm like, usually say no. I'll just get it myself. Like I've got all these things, whatever. I'll do it myself. This past week, I said yes. Yeah, I would love that. And he sent me this book and I started reading it. It's a Brene Brown. And I cannot remember the title of it, but I started reading it. But I felt terrible because I was at the shore when I got it. And I just was able to respond to her last night and say, thank you. I didn't hear back from her. So I'm hoping she's not mad that I didn't respond soon enough. But my point is that I'm going to tell myself that she's not and that she's just caught up and busy because otherwise I'll drive myself mad. But I don't often receive gifts well. Like time, I do. Someone's time I love. But physical gifts, I'm not a great receiver of, or I haven't been in the past because there's always been weird things tied to it. So it just feels like step out of feeling like somehow you're going to be punished if you don't put everybody else first. Step out of, just get brave and try it. See what happens, because you're going to show your 4-year-old that it's okay to take care of yourself. They don't have to put everybody else's needs first. When I started looking at that, like, well, what do I want for my girls? I want them to see a mom who doesn't mean I don't love them, but who goes, oh, I need to go take a walk, or, oh, I need to go do this for myself. And that's okay. I'll return and I'll be for you and I'll still take care of you. I got Autumn's. Let me see if I want to see if this PayPal works. Yes, it does. So the PayPal link works. If anybody that's in the comments, I'll pin it. I didn't get, whose did I not get yet? Liana, I didn't get yours yet. You're very welcome. I didn't give you energy. Remember, when I'm doing these readings, I want to tell everybody this. So, because people are like, oh, it's so exhausting. When you're first learning, it can be, but really I have this belief system that it's just moving through me. It's not really me giving you. There's my Devry. So you're very welcome, Veronica. Thank you for trusting me with that. I spoke with my cousin Amanda last night about her mom, Kim, and she's in a very stressful state. I tried to reassure her that her mother will get on her feet and be independent soon, but she doesn't believe it. So the question is, do you know when Amanda will be free of her obligation with her mother and finally be free to live her life? Stuck without hope. Big hearts to you, Veronica. And then I'm going to answer that, but Kath, are you here? Kath McNamara, are you here? Okay. So smart ass guides go, she'll be free when she decides to be free. So I'm going to ask that a little bit better. I'll let you know if I got yours. I didn't get it yet. And I don't know if you can. Autumn, I got yours. Horseman, these are paid readings, so $12 a question, 30% gets donated to Planned Parenthood. And the PayPal's on top, and then I'm going to be done pretty quick here. So, but I'll answer. Liana, did you get like an email confirmation at all? Can you check on that? So like I said, the guides were like, as soon as she decides, I have to be honest. I feel like there is some manipulation. Her mom from Kim. I feel like there's, I have a family member that I financially supported for a while. And there was the like, woe is me. Oh, I was like, well, move here. I'll make sure that I can afford to pay for both of us for a while until you get a job and get on your feet. And then they got a job and got on their feet, but it was like, oh, I can't pay the bills, or I can't do this. I can only pay this. I can only pay that. And then when I started kind of asking, I was like, well, do you have a savings account? Do you have a 401k? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, why can't you help me pay the bills? Like, why am I still funding everything for you? And then I was told what a terrible person I was. So my point being is like, there's some manipulation going on. I don't feel like, yeah, I don't feel like she's really as destitute as she is. And really, it does feel like Amanda has to put her foot down and be like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, you have to pay X, Y, and Z, or you can't live here because I can't afford this anymore. I feel like that's when her mom will really be like, oh, okay. Yeah. Hi, Lana. Long time no see. Um, that's what I feel like. I feel like it's there's some manipulation going on. I don't feel like it's I really can't. So it's like maybe she's, she could be if it feels like she could be contributing more financially than she is, and it would make the situation better, but she's not. Like, so maybe she likes to go play the lotto, or maybe she likes to, it doesn't feel like she's boozing it up or anything like that, like really blowing money. But it feels like there's these little things that she does, and it's like, but she really could be helping more financially. Do I see your aunt getting it together? I feel like your aunt will only get it together when she's forced to get it together. So when your cousin Amanda says, like, hey, this needs to happen or you're moving out and I'm done. I understand. It's again, I've watched family members like go through their, and it's not that you're uncaring or unloving, but when you, like, Amanda's biggest problem is that she has to learn to set boundaries. And then the boundaries aren't really about like, I can't get my aunt to do what I want, my mom to do what I want to do, like your aunt. It's really like your boundaries are there for you to hold and maintain and respect. Nobody has to respect your boundaries. I could say my boundary could be, I don't want people wearing purple shoes in my house. I have a thing about purple shoes in my house. This is pretend. I really don't care, like whatever. I actually ask people to take their shoes off in my house. But it doesn't matter. Everybody on the street, everybody in the entire world could be totally fine with somebody wearing purple shoes in their house. But it doesn't matter if it makes sense to somebody or not. It's my boundary. And if somebody doesn't want to, like, they want to show up with purple shoes, I can just be like, well, you can't come in my house. And they're like, that's the stupidest rule. I'm wearing purple shoes in your house. You can just be like, well, we can meet at the restaurant or we can meet here, but I don't want you wearing, like, you're the only one who's allowing somebody to walk all over you, period. And if that person wants to keep showing up in purple shoes, maybe just be like, listen, we cannot hang out anymore because I have this boundary and you refuse to respect this boundary. And that's okay. It's your prerogative, but it's my prerogative to like not hang out with somebody anymore who doesn't respect me. Yeah, go ahead. You can, Autumn. I can answer yours now. I'm waiting for Kath to show up. I'll just answer it. It is like, dang, like, why is this so hard for you? Can you just give me a first name? I don't know. I like first names. Thank you. Horsemen, these are paid readings. There is a pinned comment that has my PayPal that you can pay. Okay. So when I asked why do you keep dreaming about Chris, I feel very corded in my solar plexus, and I also feel this feeling of like almost like nausea, insecurity. Does he have a lot of anxiety? There's a lot of fear too. So I have to say this, like, I don't feel like it's because something terrible is going to happen or anything like that. I feel like you're still really corded. And so I feel like Chris is really stressed out and going through a lot. And that's why it's like in the ethereal world, pulling from your energy. So how do you uncord yourself? Well, you can do a visualization where you see it and you feel that light. Think of it like a big straw or tube that connects you. And you're going to fill it with white light and send white light out there. And you're going to send pink light for love, right? Send light, send love, send good energy, and say, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for the connection that we've made, for you teaching me, because really, even if it's bad, they're teaching us, right? And I'm sending all of your energy back to you with love. I no longer, you can say from all directions of time and space, all periods of existence, whatever, all planes of existence. And like, see yourself removing that cord then. Like, think of it as a solid thing and you're removing it. So then I always imagine, because this is the weirdo nurse in me, a gaping wound. Because again, a weird nurse, like there's going to be some kind of attachment there. So I send that back and I send it with love. I don't send any negative energy or anything like that. I don't know that it's of a romantic interest. It just feels like there is an energetic cord. You can be corded to people for all different reasons. You can have cords from past lives. You can have cords from this life. If you're friends, or even if it doesn't have to be anything. Like, you can be corded for all different kinds of reasons. You didn't trouble me at all, Horseman. It's okay. If I were you, Horseman, what I would do is just send energetic love to him, like send a lot of good energy to him. When someone attempts to take their own life, there's always obviously a lot of heartache and things like that. And again, there has to be an energy exchange. So I could jump into everybody's energy if I wanted to, but I feel like there has to be an energy exchange, because otherwise it's like not healthy. But what I would say is, from a spiritual standpoint, is just really sending lots of energy and love his way for healing. Just from seeing some of the things, there's a lot that you won't have control over. So Liana, come back next week. That's okay. Maybe there's also, just trust the timing of that. Okay. I do feel like, no, Autumn, okay, hang on. I understand. I'm so sorry, Horseman. I'm really sorry about that. Liana, just come back next week. Subscribe, hit the bell. I'm here every Sunday. It's very rare that I'm not here. I usually give you warning if I'm not going to be around, but I wasn't going to be at home. And so I didn't want to say it won't be live. And I didn't want to do it from a strange place and then be like, see, I'm not at home. Anyway, whatever. Because I always have ghosty things. And the person who was watching my bunny and staying at my house didn't need to deal with any other weird stuff. Autumn, you can be courted to people without a romantic relationship. So you can have an energetic connection. That's what the courting is. You have an energetic connection without having an actual relationship. And that can come from past life stuff. I don't feel like these are precognitive dreams that are coming up. I feel like he's stressed out and worried. And so if you say, if you daydream about somebody, right? Or you find a connection somehow, you can start connecting in with their energy. There are people that I follow on Facebook, or not Facebook, on Instagram or whatever. And all of a sudden I'll get their picture in my mind. And it's like, oh, they've posted. I don't really have a connection with them. I don't have a relationship with them, but for some reason, I get this feeling and I know when they're going to post. And also remember that our connections are not limited to this experience. So you may have a connection with him. Your energy dropped. Are you bummed? Here's the thing. A lot of times people will ask a question like, why am I dreaming of him? Because you want the answer to be like, because you're going to get married and it's the most amazing thing ever. I don't know if that's what it is. Ask the question you want to know. Don't be embarrassed. I honestly feel like he's got another relationship right now. You can ask a quick follow-up one. Normally don't let you do this, but I will. Because I don't think that's the real question you wanted to ask. Is Chris in a relationship? That's what I feel. I'm not a horseman. I'm not going to answer that. And I'm going to tell you why. Number one, Autumn's been here. Number two, I don't want to delve into that energy. That's a lot heavier energy. And so I'm purposely not, because you're not paying for it. And I really don't want to delve into that energy. It's very heavy, heavy energy. So that is my boundary. And I do have a big, soft, really, really bleeding heart for people. But that's a bigger question and a bigger energy than you really understand that what you're asking. So, Autumn, this is your lesson. I feel like he's in another relationship right now. So I'm not going to totally answer that, but your lesson is that that's the real question you wanted to ask. So ask that question. A lot of us ask these supernatural questions because we're like, we want the answer to be this, but then when I give you it, you're like, oh, that's not what I wanted to know. What I really wanted to know was this. So ask that. When I teach people how to connect them with their intuition, it becomes 20 questions. So it's like, well, why wouldn't they have given me this information? Because I didn't ask the right question. And they're not always going to be an open book, but they'll answer our questions if we ask them. I feel like right now Chris is in another relationship. I'm teaching you. It's like when someone goes, I want a general reading. I used to do this. Oh, give me a general reading, because I'd be like, oh, I hope they tell me that I'm going to be really successful, or blah, blah, blah. And then I'd get like, I don't know, some offshoot of something that had nothing to do with that. And I'd be bummed, or like, whatever, I'm really gifted and I'm a psychic and blah, blah, blah. And I wouldn't hear that. And it's like, why don't you just ask the question you want instead of leaving it as a general one? Like, don't walk away feeling dejected. Hello, Shraddha. So, Kath, where are you? Why you're not on my live? Shraddha, these are paid readings, but I'm just about to be done here. I was going to say goodbye. So I've been on for an hour and 40 minutes. I am here every Sunday. They are $12 a question. 30% goes to a charity usually. And lately I've been doing Planned Parenthood because women deserve rights to their body and to be able to take care of their medical needs. So if you want to come back next Sunday, I will be on at 4 p.m. Eastern time. It's New York City time. Thank you all for joining me. Have a wonderful week.